those history documentaries.
In the unforgiving crucible of their initial conquests, the Mongols, initially strangers to the intricacies of static defense, learned a terrifying new art: how to make stone walk. This profound adaptability transformed the Great Wall into a strategic funnel, mountain passes into open doors, and once impenetrable cities into ticking clocks. The romanticized image of nomadic hordes breaking against unyielding fortifications rapidly gave way to a far more chilling reality. An empire that meticulously deconstructed the very notion of fixed defense, elevating siege warfare to a science of overwhelming force and psychological erosion. The Western Jia campaign, a syllabus for siege, 1209 to 1210. The Tangut Kingdom of Western Xia, wealthy, well-fortified, and strategically positioned along vital trade routes, became the Mongols' first grand classroom. Its capital, Zhongxing, modern Yinchuan, a formidable symbol of its might, was encircled by Genghis Khan. Here the Khan, ever the innovator, employed a tactic as ancient as empire itself, turning the very river against the city. The mighty Yellow River, both lifeblood and protector, was meticulously diverted. Mongol engineers, initially unfamiliar with such large-scale hydrological manipulation, embarked on constructing an intricate network of ditches and dikes. The redirected water pressed against the city's walls, seeping into foundations, softening mortar, and threatening structural integrity. More potent still, an insidious panic gripped the Tangut court. Though the attempt nearly backfired, threatening the Mongol camp in an unexpected surge, a testament to the unpredictable nature of such grand schemes, the message was delivered with devastating clarity. The nomads had not merely brought an army, they had brought a siege. Western Xia, caught between inundation and invasion, had no recourse but to submit. The terms were harsh but deeply instructive. Hostages were surrendered, a substantial tribute paid, and, most crucially, engineers were handed over to the Mongols. With these engineers came invaluable knowledge, the sophisticated techniques of sappers who could tunnel beneath walls, blueprints for sturdy scaling ladders, and, most significantly, the schematics for traction trebuchets, massive mechanical artillery capable of hurling heavy projectiles with destructive force. The Mongols departed Western Xia with a promise kept by the terrified Tanguts, and, more importantly, a detailed syllabus for their next war. They had absorbed the wisdom of their vanquished foes, transforming it into a potent weapon for future conquests. The Jin dynasty, breaking the dragon's spine, 1211 to 1215. Against the formidable Jin dynasty, the challenge was exponentially greater. The Jin commanded a sprawling territory, protected by extended sections of the Great Wall, a barrier meticulously designed to deter and exhaust any northern threat. However, the wall, in its very immensity, presented an Achilles heel. Its resources were finite, its garrison stretched thin, and its command structure often fractured. Genghis Khan did not waste his strength battering the barrier head-on. Instead, he studied it with the meticulousness of a cartographer, identifying supply nodes, crucial choke points, and isolated garrisons that often failed to communicate effectively. He then unleashed multiple columns, a strategic masterstroke that forced the Jin to make an impossible choice, committing their forces to defend against numerous, simultaneous threats. The Great Wall could stop a single raid. It could not withstand a meticulously executed plan. The pass the Jin called Badger Mouth, Yihuling, was a strategic masterpiece of natural defense, guarding the vital approach to Zhongdu, modern Beijing, the Jin capital. Here, Genghis again demonstrated his tactical brilliance. He split his army, staging audacious feints at the obvious, heavily fortified gates. Simultaneously, lighter, more agile Mongol forces slipped over treacherous goat paths and forgotten mountain trails, outflanking the Jin's prepared defenses. He then waited. When the Jin forces, reacting to the noise and feigned assaults, committed their strength towards the perceived main threat, the Mongol wings, positioned covertly, moved with devastating speed. They unzipped the Jin column, separating the front from the rear, the vanguard from the baggage train. What was intended as an impregnable pass quickly became a deadly pocket. The very terrain of the wall designed for defense was transformed into a landscape for a trap. What Western Xia had reluctantly begun, Jin China accelerated through its own sheer scale and sophistication. Genghis Khan, now fully aware of the transformative power of engineering, placed his newly acquired and carefully cultivated engineers under both guard and honor. Their protection was paramount, their pay generous, their family secured. In return, he demanded results. Traction trebuchets, designed for quick assembly and dismantling, ensuring rapid deployment and redeployment across vast distances. These formidable machines became the backbone of the Mongol siege train, capable of hurling massive stones, incendiary devices, spreading both physical destruction and terror. Countermines and saps, techniques to tunnel beneath enemy fortifications, eating away at the stone from within, or to create breaches for direct assault. Mongol sappers, guided by their newly acquired expertise, became masters of subterranean warfare, silently undermining the very foundations of enemy resistance. Shielded carts, mobile fortifications that allowed archers to approach within killing distance of the walls, raining down arrows with impunity. These ingenious contraptions provided vital cover for Mongol archers, enabling them to maintain a relentless barrage and suppress defenders on the ramparts. Fire and smoke, not merely for destruction, but as psychological weapons, creating panic and disarray where even iron could not achieve the same effect. Incendiary projectiles, smoke screens, and burning oil were deployed with devastating precision, turning the defenders' resolve into ashes. This was the conversion that truly terrified the Mongols' neighbors. A formidable cavalry empire that could not only move with astonishing speed, but could also sit still, patiently, and still be lethally effective. The campaign rhythm shifted dramatically, pin the enemy, ride past their fixed defenses, then return to consolidate. The Mongols did not seek to swallow the North whole in one gulp. They sliced it. They systematically cut vital roads, burned grain stores to cripple supply, and flipped prefects with a potent mix of fear and favor. Towns that wisely opened their gates were spared the sword, kept order under new, Mongol-imposed rules, and integrated into the emerging system. Towns that resisted were taught a brutal lesson in economy, a brief, devastating sack, followed by the posting of a Mongol officer, and then, inexorably, taxes on schedule. Even in conquest, the message repeated itself with chilling consistency. Submit, and your life is worth more alive. By 1214, Zhongdu, the Jin capital, was effectively squeezed. The Jin emperor, recognizing the futility of further resistance in his exposed northern capital, paid tribute and offered hostages. Then, in a move that defenders seldom admit, he abandoned Zhongdu, relocating his court to Kaifeng, Beijing, on the Grand Canal. He hoped that the distance and the formidable river fleets would buy him precious time, creating a buffer against the relentless Mongol advance. A city without its court, however, is a ripe city. It lacks its central authority, its symbolic heart, and often its will to resist. The Mongols returned to Zhongdu in 1215, this time with practice. Their engineers brought bigger frames, thicker ropes for their trebuchets, and sappers who now hugged the walls with an uncanny instinct, mining precisely where the mortar was tired, where the stone had begun to crumble. The ring around the city tightened relentlessly until hunger, the most merciless of besiegers, did what arrows and catapults alone could not. Zhongdu fell. A new, terrifying lesson burned itself into the chronicles of the age. The cavalry empire could take capitals. The aftermath was not the chaotic, indiscriminate looting often associated with conquerors. Loot was counted, meticulously recorded, not merely grabbed. Officers were made to sign for captured goods. Households deemed compliant were protected, and critically, artisans were registered. Fear won cities, but systems, the nascent Mongol bureaucracy, kept them. As Genghis Khan turned his gaze westward, towards the burgeoning Khwarezmian Empire, he left a trusted deputy to hold the burgeoning gains in China. Mukhali, loyal, ruthless, and methodical. Mukhali was a true architect of empire, systematically transforming military gains into durable governance. He established garrisons at strategic crossroads, implemented clear tax quotas, and integrated local militias under the command of Mongol officers. He fought like a ledger, calculating and precise. Offense when the numbers dictated a clear advantage, truces when the granaries signaled a need to wait and resupply. The army that had learned to break cities now learned to run them. The Mongol system, how walls became meaningless. The success of the Mongols against the Jin was not merely a matter of brute force, it was the triumph of a comprehensive, adaptable, and utterly ruthless system. Multi-pass approach. Instead of focusing on a single point of attack, the Mongols hit several gates simultaneously, forcing defenders to spread their forces thin and constantly wrong-footing them. This strategic dispersion of their forces created a dilemma for the defenders, who could never fully anticipate where the main assault would come. Reconnaissance and signals. An unparalleled scouting network provided days-ahead intelligence, while an intricate system of flags and drums ensured synchronized, complex movements across vast battlefields. This sophisticated communication network allowed for unprecedented coordination, enabling the Mongols to execute intricate maneuvers and respond rapidly to changing battlefield conditions. Elite engineer corps. Talent was protected and incentivized. Traction trebuchets and shielded carts were standardized, becoming essential, portable siege engines that could be deployed rapidly. The integration of these highly skilled engineers transformed the Mongol army from a purely cavalry force into a multifaceted war machine capable of overcoming any obstacle. River as weapon. The Mongols mastered the art of hydrological warfare, diverting rivers to flood cities, using them for rapid fords, or starving garrisons by cutting off boat traffic and essential mills. This innovative use of natural resources demonstrated their ingenuity and adaptability, turning the very environment against their enemies. Policy of the carrot and stick. Quick amnesties for towns that opened their gates, followed by predictable, manageable taxes. This offered a clear incentive for cooperation, contrasting sharply with the destructive fate of those who resisted. This shrewd diplomatic approach minimized unnecessary bloodshed and facilitated the swift integration of conquered territories into the nascent Mongol Empire. In the astonishing span of just 6 years, the Mongols went from being steppe outsiders, perceived merely as raiding barbarians, to the undisputed arbiter of North China's fate. Western Xia, once a proud kingdom, now paid tribute and, more importantly, lent its invaluable technical experts. The Jin dynasty had lost its northern capital, its prestige, and the dangerous illusion that walls could simply wait out cavalry. What began as a raid economy, focused on plunder and fleeting victories, transformed into a nascent state, complete with an expanding network of roads, efficient messengers, and a developing system of law. Behind the impressive military maps were the people, local officials and commanders who switched sides because the new rules were clearer and more predictable than the existing chaos and conflicting rumors. Artisans accepted Mongol protection because their talent and livelihoods were safer under the new order than under the constant panic of war. Commanders, both Mongol and newly acquired, learned a chilling truth. The harshest, most effective weapon is a meticulously kept schedule. Walls fell, rivers were bridged and utilized. The Mongol army, having devoured the knowledge and resources of its enemies, breathed in deeply, ready for a longer, more audacious stride. Beyond the passes to the west lay a prosperous market town named Otrar, a proud and volatile Shah, and a single fateful decision that would ignite a conflict destined to shatter an empire stretching from the Aral Sea to the Indus River. Next, Episode 3, Empire Shattered. Khwarazm, 1218 to 1221. Here's an image depicting the ingenuity and might of the Mongol siege.
Please subscribe and look for more documentaries at Swords and Shadows.